Well, hello and welcome to SoCal Prep Report. My name is Randy Rosenblum, your host. Tarek Fatal from SB Lives in Sacramento. We'll get to Tarek in a moment. Tarek's going to preview all the great championship games in state basketball that are going on this weekend in Sacramento. Should be a lot of fun when we bring Tarek in. Also, we're going to have Lloyd Webster, the head basketball coach of King Drew. Of course, his King Drew team won the LA City Section Open division title. Very young squad, but they got through and won it all. Let's now bring in Tarek live from his very plush hotel room in Sacramento, California. Tarek, I understand on your plane going up there, you were on with the Alemany team that's going to play this weekend. They're boys.
That's right. You know, usually teams bus up, but hey, maybe Alemany had a little more budget. I don't know. We'll never know, really. But they were on the plane out of Burbank, and the boys actually, were very polite and no problems, as we all would expect. And quick 50-minute flight to Sacramento and landed, and everyone is still intact, so they should be good to go for tomorrow's state final.
All right, speaking of good to go, let's start with Harvard, Westlake, and Roosevelt. It was a rematch from their Southern Section final, and it was a close game both times. Harvard Westlake got them both times, 63-59. Harvard Westlake winning the state regional title. Again, it was Trent Perry at 28 points. Tarek, 21 of them coming in a brilliant second half.
Yeah, he just, this is a double-digit deficit for the Wolverines. They were down to Carlsbad, then they were down to Roosevelt here in the regional final, but they are just so foundational in what they do. They move the ball, they're unselfish, and they look and hunt for easy shots. And Trent Perry, his game isn't that flashy, Randy. It's he gets to the rim, he makes shots, he gets to the free throw line. He's actually 24 of 24 from the free throw line in his last two games. And last ad, Roosevelt's Braden Burries was extraordinary. Fantastic player, just came up short, but he's only a junior. We'll see him next year.
One of the good things about Roosevelt, not only did they have a great year and were the number 2 seed in this tournament to Harvard Westlake, most of their kids are all coming back next year, so they should be sensational. All right, let's check out the D1 game. Mater Dei and St. John Bosco, a couple rivals from the very competitive Trinity League. Mater Dei won both games during the regular season, but Bosco got them in the regional final.
This was one of those cliche, well, it's hard to beat a team a third time. And yeah, that's pretty much what played out. And let's remember, Mater Dei is without their best player, sophomore Brennan Martinson. So, he was the big question mark coming in, and they couldn't fill the void. So St. John Bosco gets the game at home in overtime.
Elsie Harrington with the 22 points. Tremendous young talent, highly recruited backcourt performer for the Bosco Braves. Division II, Centennial Bakersfield. This is a good team. In fact, it's the team that knocked out Lloyd Webster's King Drew team in the tournament. This time they beat Heritage Christian 68-56, despite a great effort from Heritage's Dylan Shaw, who poured in 25.
This is a really talented team that'll basically most of the team, if not all of the team, will come back next year. All juniors, Dylan Shaw, Tay Simmons, Roman Fisher, and a standout freshman named Josiah Nance. So the Heritage Christian Warriors, maybe they're an open division team next year. We don't know with the playoff format. Maybe there's more than 8 teams in that division. So maybe they get in, but they'll be right there.
Division III, your airplane mates, Alemany, they did well, obviously. They qualified, beating Bosco Tech for the second time in the playoffs. They beat them in the CIF Southern Section, 74-63 for the regional championship. Of course, you had that chance earlier today to talk to Logan Dorsey, the fine guard of Alemany.
That's right. On the plane, I sat next to a couple players, and one of them was Logan Dorsey. And I was actually talking to him about San Marcos, their Division III final opponent. Said, hey, that they're a big team, and they don't really have one guy. They have multiple guys that can hurt you. So they're in for a really, really good game. And Alemany, I believe, only has one state title in its program history. That's when Trey Meeks was the coach. So maybe they get number 2 here.
Yeah, that was a great team for Trey Meeks, and he was a tremendous coach. And now Alemany's back in the state finals, and they have a good opportunity. Division IV, Chatsworth and Cleveland, West Valley League rivals, City Section rivals. Elijah Arenas, he scored 53 in the game before that against Washington Prep, another city team. Here he scores 21 points, but it's impressive, Tarek. He got 18 rebounds in the game.
He is a standout player, and everything we see about him is very prototypical, literally. Just, hey, this is a five-star recruit that's a sophomore. He's already 6'5", 6'6". He scores effortlessly. He shoots from anywhere. He's one of the best players in the country in his class, maybe even arguably the best player in California, regardless of class. So when you have superpower like that, you're always in the mix, and certainly they have a chance to win a state title for the first time in program history.
Of course, it's been well documented. His dad is Gilbert Arenas, who had a tremendous college and pro career, played at Grant High School in the Valley. Gilbert was an all-star performer. And Gilbert's highest game at the prep level was 50 points. So his son's already eclipsed that mark with that performance against Washington Prep. So in a sense, he's ahead of his pop, right?
Yeah, he is at this point. That's a good point. And actually, what's funny is people thought his 53-point game was his career high. He scored 56 as a freshman last year. I don't know who was against, but it's certainly the 53 in a CIF State playoff game probably holds a little more weight than when he scored 56, which I believe was a mid-season game last year as a freshman.
I think it's a great note. I didn't know that that was not his career high. So the fact that he did score 56 a season ago as a freshman, not surprising because he's so gifted. But 53 in this tournament, and then backing it up with the 21 and 18 in this game. Boy, Gilbert Arenas' son is doing great damage. Elijah Arenas, and they finally take down a very good Cleveland team, which had given them trouble during the regular year. Right, Tarek?
That's right. You know, we're talking about a Cleveland team that finished, I think they shared the league title, West Valley League title. That hadn't been done in a long time. They get to the Open Division. They were the #1 seed. This is a team with a new coach and some new players. So very, very different looking Cleveland team than what we're used to in recent years. And they knocked off Chatsworth twice. But as the old cliche says, and I'll allude to it, I said it a couple of minutes ago, it's hard to beat a team third for a third straight time. And Chatsworth was able to win that third game.
Division 5, Verdugo Hills. Jared Gibson's done a tremendous job coaching that Don team, getting by Bakersfield North 56-53 to win the regional crown and qualify for this weekend.
You mentioned it. This is one of 3 teams in the CIF State Championships for the city section. The third being a girls team, Granada Hills. They're going to be in the Division 3 final on the ladies' side. But hey, a great year for the city, right? I mean, come on, let's give it up for Dick Dornan going to bat, getting those teams in their correct divisions. And I know some people want to knock the level. Okay, it's not Open Division or Division 1, but it's competitive equity. They're playing teams that they should be playing, and the games are close. It means competitive equity is working.
Well, you said it's a great year for the LA City section. It was even better for King Drew because they won the Open Division title. Tarek, we'll get back to you in a few minutes, but let's bring in Lloyd Webster, the fine head basketball coach at King Drew. Coach, first and foremost, congratulations on winning the Open Division title.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Well, are you a year ahead of schedule? You have a very young basketball team. Most people thought you were a year away. Did you expect to win it all this season?
Absolutely. I expect to win it every season. When you have guys like Thompson, Kimball, and Webster, you're always in the game.
What
Along
was
with the host of
Yeah, I was going to say, what's the difference this year? What was the difference this year?
Chemistry.
Well, that starts from your perspective. How easy was it to get everything across? Now, I know your son, Jason Webster, is one of the stars of the team. When you have your son there, does that make it a little bit easier to communicate to the rest of the guys?
I think it makes it a little easier because I go just as hard on him as I go on any other at any other player. Nobody's bigger than the program. No player is not held accountable. Everybody is held to the same standards. So, on any given night, any one of our players can step up and have a great night. So I think the fact that everybody's held accountable plays a key role in our success.
I was impressed when I saw you play by your whole team and the way you executed in the finals against a very good Laces team with Jay Sean Kibble, a young player, sophomore, who really would play through contact when he took it to the basket, also could hit threes. I liked his game. Tell us about Kibble.
And Kimball's phenomenal. Kimball's definitely ahead of his time. sophomore that plays like a senior. Nice pull-up jump shot. Hell of a defender, hell of a competitor. Brings his hard hat every day to practice. Just a phenomenal player. Just thrilled to be able to coach this young man. Hopefully for the next, few years. But that's up to the parents and how they feel. Jay Sean fits in the program. It's a little different basketball now. It's hard to keep a good core together.
Well, what isn't hard is at King Drew to have good student athletes, and academics is very important. How do you feel about coaching smart guys? I mean, you got a bunch of intellects on your team. I would imagine that's a plus when you're putting your game plans together week in and week out.
Absolutely. Smart players smart students make smart players. So I don't have to really worry much about guys understanding because most of these guys pick things up pretty quickly and adjust very well to halftime adjustments, game time adjustments, adjustments out of timeouts. They're definitely very savvy and very intelligent student athletes.
Chatting with Lloyd Webster, the head basketball coach at King Drew, after they won the Open Division City title this year. Coach, what do you say to the detractors of the LA City section? Say, hey, they're just playing in lower divisions now. You got beat in the Division II state tournament, very competitive. You lost to that team, Centennial from Bakersfield, after a long bus ride. But what do you say to those detractors about city basketball?
I think there's a misconception about basketball across the board, and I spoke with Tarek about the same thing. There's parity across basketball in California, period. We went into the southern section and we played a team, La Habra, that was on a 22-game win streak. So are you going to tell me that guys in La Habra are, that's down over there? So
no, that's
southern
a great
section
win for
basketball
you.
down.
That's a great win for you.
Big time win.
So, Coach, how'd you feel about getting the experience and playing in the state? That's got to be a real plus for next year for your kids.
I'm going to be honest. This was our third time in the semifinal state game. We went to the semifinals in 2018, went to the semifinals in 2020, and now again in 24. So I just think that, what I want the state to recognize our players. A lot of time we can't get 2 or 3 King Drew guys on all state that are underclassmen, and that's a knock on the state because these guys are underclassmen doing what many seniors can't do.
So next year, you want to win the city title again, obviously, in the Open Division. Would you like to play in the Open State Tournament as well next year, qualify for that? I would imagine that would be one of the steps, at least moving up one level in the state tournament.
Absolutely. If we can if we can go out here and recruit some type of big guy, I think we'll be fine. I think that's what hurts us in the long run, not having a big guy. A lot of these stellar programs, they got big guys,
Well, you came up big anyway, so congratulations, Coach. We really appreciate the chat. Your King Drew team had a tremendous year. You are the Open LA City Section boys champion. We'll talk to you down the road.
It's always a pleasure. I appreciate what you do, you and Tarek, and of course Eric, who's just been a big time supporter of our program, and much love and much success to you guys, and looking forward to next year.
You got it, Coach. All right, thank you very much, Lloyd Webster. Once again, we'll bring back Tarek Fatal from SB Live, my co-host, remote today because he's in Sacramento as the state tournament starts tomorrow. It's a Friday, Saturday, a lot of games to be played, and we're going to go over those games. But before we do that, let's look back at the regional girls championship games, and there was some good ones. Etiwanda getting by Sierra Canyon again. This time, unlike their meeting in the Southern Section Championship game where Etiwanda blew them out, Sierra Canyon played it tight, Tarek. This was a good game.
They did, and Sierra Canyon, I want to say, tied the game with like 3 or 4 minutes to go, and then Grace Knox came down and hit a 3, and it just sucked the energy out of the room for Sierra Canyon. I think they scratched and clawed. They were up 7-0 to start the game, Etiwanda went on a 10-0 run and then had the lead all the way up until about midway through the fourth quarter. They got to a tie ball game, scratching and clawing, and Grace Knox hit a three, and it just kind of took the wind out of their sails. So Etiwanda absolutely deserves to be there. Great season for Sierra Canyon. Jersey Robinson has been fantastic, so she'll be a great junior prospect next year, but it is the year for the Eagles. Can they beat Archbishop Mitty? I don't know, and maybe we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah, you mentioned Jersey Robinson. She did have 25 in a losing effort, almost half the points for Sierra Canyon. Bishop Montgomery over Brentwood. This was a tight game as well. Really a good basketball game as Bishop Montgomery won the contest.
Yeah, again, these are high-level teams that are on the cusp of the Open Division Southern Section playoffs. So they go down to the Division I state, and, they're kind of expected to make a run, and these teams do. So it's double the pressure. There's an expectation for you to perform, and then you have to perform, and they did that.
At the same location, Harvard-Westlake, where the boys won, and we just talked about their win over Roosevelt, it was an earlier game, a doubleheader. And the girls of Harvard-Westlake, under the tutelage of Melissa Herlihy, who's closing in on being the winningest girls coach in the state of California, now that Kevin Kiernan's retired. She's second. She'll eventually pass him if she continues to coach. Knocked off their rival, 50-38, their rival from Sherman Oaks, Notre Dame, same league, Mission League. Valentina Guerrero leading them with 15 points after coming back from a broken nose. She missed a month of the season.
That's right. Yeah, Valentina Guerrero. She had 15 points, and she did it in about 11 or 12 minutes. She had a 3-minute per quarter minute restriction because, like you said, she came back from a broken nose, so she had to play with a mask on. And, boy, every minute she played, she was an impact. I mean, her plus-minus, that's an NBA stat through the roof. So good for the Wolverines. I think Melissa Herlihy is now at 838 wins, if I'm not mistaken. And she's going to play. She might need 2 seasons to catch Kiernan. But if she keeps going, she will eventually.
Yeah, Kevin Kiernan again announced at Mater Dei he's not going to coach anymore. He's still their AD. Has exactly 900. So that's the mark she's after. Her team wins the Division II Regional Championship. D3, Granada Hills. This is a city team that really came on late, 58-56. And you're telling me the Highlanders have some size, Tarek. That's why they were able to get by Bakersfield Christian.
Yes, they do. They do have size, and that's what's been carrying them through the year. Marianne Boko was the City Player of the Year last year, and she hurt her knee, season-ending injury. So they've been without her all year long, and they've been able to persevere and be resilient, and now here they are in the CIF State title. And last stat about that team is first-year coach Ray Colston. He was 5 years at ECR, won a Division I city title in 2022. And then they let him go for reasons we don't know. They let go of Joe Wyatt, too. He was the head coach there for almost 10 years. So we all kind of know there was something weird going on, but Ray Colson takes a year off coaching, comes back to Granada, and here they are in his first year in the state final.
Yeah, the Highlanders go to Sacramento. The last city section girls team to go all the way and qualify to Sacramento was Narbonne way back in 2001. All right, time to turn our attention to some soccer. We had the regional finals, and there is no state finals, so the regional final is it. We're going to start with the boys. St. Augustine over Mater Dei 2-0. Mater Dei had a great year, but they couldn't get the regional championship after winning the Southern Section title.
Yeah, St. Augustine, if I'm not mistaken, they got to that game by beating Arlington.
They did.
High, that was like the team to beat all year long. And those poor guys, man, they get to the section final and lose to Mater Dei 1-0. Then they get to the regional semifinals and they lose to St. Augustine. So you get these teams that have these phenomenal years, but no hardware to show for it. So that was Arlington this year, unfortunately.
Division II, Servite over Oulu. The battle of Trinity League schools. Not a surprise there. Servite had a great year, very highly regarded. In Division III, we'll move ahead to D3. Another big performance. This one was from Foothill. Foothill just took it to Porterville, 5-0. Tarek, you rarely see a rout like that at this level.
Yeah, not in soccer. I mean, maybe there was someone injured or it was just, a lot of things could go into a blowout like that. But in finals, the 1-0, maybe a 2-0 or a 2-1 is usually more likely scoreline, but the 5-0, clearly Foothill was the better team.
All right, the girls' regional finals, we'll start with D1. Santa Margarita, Santiago. They finished up 2-2. It went into penalty kicks, and Santa Margarita won it 5-3. Then we move ahead. We're going to take a look at Division III. And here again, we had a match that went into extra sessions. Granada Hills and Apple Valley. Just another tremendous match. Granada Hills won, Apple Valley won. And again, like Santa Margarita, Granada Hills was able to win in penalty kicks. So the Highlanders, I mean, that program, their girls basketball team and their girls soccer team, really unlimited heights this year. They have to be thrilled of what they accomplished.
Sure. I mean, anytime you're representing the city section, that's important. So kudos to Granada Hills Charter and that athletic department.
Division IV, we'll talk about this match because it was Louisville winning the championship of the region. They knocked off Arroyo Grande 1-0. Mia Kodama, there she is.
Who else?
Who was a part of a couple championship teams in different sports, got the winning goal.
I think we do an athlete of the year. It's my first year at SB Live. I don't know. But if we have an athlete of the year, kind of an all-encompassing boys athlete of the year and girls athlete of the year, I don't know how Mia Kodama is not the girls athlete of the year, given what she accomplished this year. And she's going to run track. You know what I'm saying? So she's just this all-around athlete that does such great things. 2 CIF titles in 2 days in basketball and soccer. There's the photo there. Shout out to the production crew on that. That's awesome. But there's Mia, a sweet girl, the daughter of a soccer father at Rob Kodama, who's the longtime soccer coach at Crespi. Mia is well on her way.
Another match is Diamond Bar over Bell Gardens 1-0. So again, there's what you expect, a tight match. Congratulations to Diamond Bar winning the D5 in the soccer regionals. All right, Tarek, it's time for us to break down these championship games in our final 7.5 minutes of the program. Let's start. Again, these basketball games are going to start tomorrow. Verdugo Hills is playing noon tomorrow against Atherton. Verdugo's 25-3. Their opponent is 27-8. What we know about Verdugo Hills is they're well coached by Jared Gibson.
Yeah, this is a team that's going to have to rely on what they know they can do, right? You don't want to do anything different in the big game. So stick to what you know, stick to what you're good at. Verdugo Hills, they don't have any supreme athletes or guys playing above the rim. That's just the truth. They play solid fundamental basketball. They try not to turn the ball over. They make open shots, and hopefully that helps them at Golden One Center. One thing that I could probably weave through a lot of these teams in these lower divisions is teams like Verdugo Hills or Granada Hills Charter girls basketball, maybe even Alamany. They're not used to playing in these big arenas, Randy, and that depth, it matters for the shooting. Now, the Harvard Westlakes of the world, the St. John Boscos, Salesian, they've played in tournaments and things like that, maybe college arenas, and they can adjust a little bit better. That could be a factor for Verdugo.
Okay, that should be a good game. So should Granada Hills and Carruthers. Carruthers is a small school from up north, only about 600 or 650 students. But the Highlanders, they're there, and you got to give their girls credit. They're in the D3 championship game tomorrow.
That's right. Alex, we talked about them earlier in the show. They're hungry. They've dealt with a lot of perseverance. They're a resilient bunch, and they're tough. So they're going to have to play some defense and get some points from some role players to win that game.
6 o'clock game tomorrow has Bishop Montgomery girls 22-5 against Bishop O'Dowd 24-6. All I know about O'Dowd is they got great athletes in all sports. So I got to think this is not going to be an easy assignment for Bishop Montgomery.
The girls Division I and girls open games are going to be they could arguably be the best games of the whole weekend, boys or girls, just because the matchups are great and you don't really know who's going to win. So, Montgomery O'Dowd, Division I, going to be a great game. And I know we're going to talk about it here in a second. That open girls game, Etowanda and Archbishop Mitty, oh, man, that could be a toss-up, and there's a lot of star power in those games.
Saturday, boys noon game, Chatsworth. The Chancellors 20-14 against Monterey 24-6. All we know is Elijah Arenas is on Chatsworth, and so you always lean that direction, don't you?
Yeah, you do. But see, just like Juju Watkins for the USC women's basketball team or Elijah Arenas for Chatsworth, they're just kind of the one-man band a little bit. Obviously, they have role players that do their job, and that's good too. But if the other team, if Monterey has the ability to really bottle up Elijah Arenas and he doesn't have a good shooting night, the Chancellors will be in trouble.
6 o'clock Saturday night. Etiwanda, 31-3. Archbishop Mitty, 30-0. Arguably the two best teams, not only in the state, but maybe in the country. That will be a fascinating Open Division girls title game.
Yeah, that might actually be the best matchup of the whole weekend. They have one common opponent, if I'm not mistaken, maybe a second one, but I know for sure they have one. That's Long Island Lutheran. Long Island Lutheran is top 5 women's basketball program in the country for high school basketball. Archbishop Mitty beat them, and Etiwanda lost to them. If you want to equate to common opponent, what does that say for the game? We don't know. We'll find out Saturday night.
Etiwanda is trying for its second straight state championship. They won at the buzzer last year. We'll see if Stan DeLuce's team can get it done. Boys Open final. Harvard-Westlake, another team looking to repeat under Dave Rabibo. Salesian College Prep, another solid unit. We were talking before. You think Harvard-Westlake has the advantage in this game?
They do. They just do. They're the better team. They've got the better players. That's just Salesian even knows that. That's not even, oh, you're hating on us. No, they know. The Blue Chippers, the team that's been there before, the experience. Harvard-Westlake is the team to beat in this game. But Salesian they've got something going for them. They're the underdog, of course, with nothing to lose. They're playing relatively in their home region, per se, up here in the north in Sacramento. And they've got some really, really good basketball players. They don't have a superstar, but they've got 3 or 4 guys that can score and hurt you. So that becomes hard to defend.
Always like to show some baseball. Got to show some polls because Tarek puts these polls together. Here are the CIF Southern Section top 10 teams. Again, Corona's still there. Basically, it's identical to last week. Lou, Harvard-Westlake, Huntington Beach. I really like that Westlake team with Dylan Volantis, the pitcher, Andrew Haberman, another right-handed pitcher. Volantis throws from the left side. Noah Stead hit 3 homers against Sylmar earlier this week for Westlake, so that's a good team. Jay Serra, Notre Dame, Maranatha from Pasadena, Santa Margarita, and Centennial from Corona Centennial. That's your top 10.
Yes, and I look for San Dimas to move up. They just knocked off Centennial earlier this week. Yeah. Obviously, we have big games that were scheduled, and there was a little bit of weather this week. So that's the thing with high school baseball. It's just getting off the ground, and right when you think there's a little momentum, the rain comes, and then you got delays, and no one plays for 2 days. So we'll see what happens.
And your city top 10 has a new number 1. El Camino's been bumped off that perch. They're now number 2. You have Narbonne ranked number 1 in the LA City section.
Yeah, it was hard not to give Narbonne the number 1 nod. Just everyone's kind of still the same, but Narbonne's up at the top at number 1 because they beat El Camino Real. And so, again, earlier on in the year, I'll never forget, former Chaminade football coach Ed Croson used to always say at the beginning of any year, you're always chasing ghosts because you really don't know who's who. The other notable victory in this rankings that will change for next week is Birmingham beat Granada in West Valley League play earlier this week, 1-0. So look for Birmingham to move up next week as well.
I have to give a shout out to Henry Oslikian. He's a Birmingham student athlete. He's a wrestler. Just won the state championship up in Bakersfield at the 106 classification. That's a great accomplishment for a sophomore wrestler to get it done for Birmingham. That was nice to see, Tarek, that he won the state title.
It is, and listen, the San Fernando Valley is not known for its wrestling, Randy. It's just not, right? Those central city, like the Fresnos of the world and Central California, that's like wrestling's a big deal up there. Servite High School in Orange County, big deal for wrestling. Maybe out deep in Riverside or like Temecula, you might get some good wrestling. But the northern Los Angeles area, not really known for its wrestling. So whether it be city section or southern section, for someone more local in that area to go win a state title is pretty impressive.
You're right. Normally it's Clovis or Buchanan from up north.
Exactly.
He did beat a wrestler from Poway for the state title. Tarek, that's it. We're done. So you're going with Harvard Westlake, right? To win it all.
Oh man, Harvard Westlake, and you know what? Give me the Etowanda Eagles to knock off Archbishop Mitty in
Wow.
the Girls Open.
Wow. I'm going to stay off that one. That can go either way. Tarek, enjoy Sacramento. I like your room. You're looking good in there. See you
I appreciate it.
next week.
Yeah, we'll see you next week. It'll be a great 2 days of basketball. Looking forward to talking about it on Thursday night.
All right, you take care. That's Tarek Fattal from SB Live. I'm Randy Rosenblum. We will return. Tarek will be back in this chair right over here next week, and we'll talk about the results from what happened in Sacramento. For our entire LA 36 crew, I'm Randy Rosenblum. Take care, everybody. We'll see you next week on SoCal Prep Report. Good night.
Randy, put your hair in my hand. Look. Lean in. Lean in like I'm scratching your head. Your head.
My head
Your
over
head.
here?
Look at the screen behind you. Look, there you go.